communities are increasingly leveraging intangible cultural heritage, such as festivals, traditions, and local knowledge as drivers of economic growth. By building skills in heritage management and digital engagement, these assets are being transformed into sustainable business and tourism opportunities. Now, this approach not only preserves cultural identity, but also creates pathways for local enterprise and long-term development. Mobola Ajala, I beg your pardon, co-founder, managing director of IGA Nigeria, joins me now to discuss this further. Mobola, please forgive me for mispronouncing your name.
It's okay.
And please correct me.
It's Ajala.
Ajala, yes. Let's begin with how investing in cultural heritage contributes to local economic development.
It's very simple. I'm an urban planner and architect, and I've worked in public policy for the longest. And what we realize in investment is about, yes, you can throw money at things, but then again, what about the social side of things, about the knowledge, the capacity, the existing asset? What we are beginning to see as a changing landscape is that people are not only providing monetary resources or fiscal resources, but then again, knowledge and skills that the local communities or the local custodians are beginning to realize, okay, I can be part of this. Oh, this is my story. I mean, Nigeria is awash with a lot of festivals, customs, and things, and we are seeing the exposure, the exportation, the exploitation of these things. So the opportunity here is to sit down on a stakeholder basis, know who's bringing what, and then begin to deliberate and dialogue.
I like that you put it that way, because if we look, and I would like to pick your brain on this, would you say you're seeing more of an increased pride in association with culture over time?
Oh, fantastically, yes. People are telling you that they would want to affiliate with their native name. They would want to take you to the local community. It's amazingly across the country, even in other climes, we're now more identifying with who we are as a people. And I think because of how the globalization of the world has happened, people can now see themselves clearer and better.
Great. Well, now we've seen a collaboration between UDIF and IGA Nigeria for this capacity development, of course. What inspired this collaboration?
Thank you very much. The UDIF means the European Union Global Diaspora Facility. They are an agency of the EU to promote migration of skills and resources from places that have and do not have. And they've identified the key term diaspora. Working with us, they realized that what we are doing in Nigeria, working with the national government through NCMM, the National Commission for Museums, Lagos State, local communities and other partners, they said, we would like to improve and expose what you're doing with diaspora from Nigeria. So we are working with Nigerian diaspora based in Europe to really look at the skills, festival production, festival development, intangible preservation. So the learnings, how can we localize some of the learnings? How can we learn to give more and do more in our local community? So it's an exchange.
Turnkey,
yes,
very, around point. How does this project aim to balance cultural preservation with economic development in Ikorodu?
Yes, please, fantastic. So Ikorodu is one of the 5 divisions of Lagos. Apparently, it's the least recognized in terms of the amount of culture it has because it's a largely intangible division. What that means is we do have tangible culture, which is the physical size of monuments, and then we do have the intangible, which are the festivals, the customs, which you can't really touch, but experience. The way Ikorodu has operated and learned is that they have a focused and integrated community. They have 8 kingdoms as it is, and they all operate in a system where there's hierarchy. So what we're doing with them is understanding that hierarchical system and saying, what are the values, what can we sell? So they do have, as you know, Ikorodu is the land of a lot of masquerades. But what Ikorodu really is the land of kings. There are lots of kings who cohabit and co-produce, and what our job is to really is bring these technologies, bring these resources, the best practices, and sit down and say, we want to do this. So we do have a calendar festival happening sometime this year, hopefully to integrate into the local economy.
Well, it's very steeped in history and very rich culturally as well as one would expect. But what specific skills are you teaching to these communities to help them turn heritage into income-generating opportunities?
2 things particularly. We're looking at things called conservation practices, and we're looking at digitization. For conservation practices, we're trying to let them have ownership of what they own. So, for example, there's a strong masquerade culture. Masquerade is akin to fashion, is akin to celebration, exhibition. How can we help them see just beyond perhaps the conventional cultural side of things? It can become exhibition, it can become festivals and showcase. And then in terms of digital, we're literally working around with them to document this very vast history so that we can begin to turn it to film, music, merchandise, and the things that the world is now consuming. in terms of digital products. So we're doing two things in terms of the cultural practices, and we're working with the national regulator, NCMN, working with Lagos. So Ikorodu is the last piece of that puzzle as the owner, as the landlord, right? So we're bringing the tools for them and working with them to really showcase what they have.
I mean, the documentation is certainly very critical. I would imagine, this would last years from this point. But talking about festival planning, how can this be used as a tool to promote business and tourism?
Fantastic. First is needs assessment. When in everyone who's coming, what exactly are the needs? What does the community want? What does the regulator want? And what we've identified through the UDIF is 5 major stakeholders. We've got the national regulator, we've got the Lagos state, or subnational, we've got the local community, we've got the diaspora, and we've got the creative industry. So the 5 of us, or the 5 stakeholders, come together and we sit down to plan, okay, we want to do a masquerade parade, we want to do a showcase of a certain rights. What is your role? What is their role? So at the end of the day, the community understands that people are coming to co-own with them, coming to co-produce with them. So it's a sense of inclusion. Inclusion is really key. And then they already have the content. We just stretch it. We just produce it. We just scale it.
I like that. Yes, that's very, very important. I mean, if we look at digital training, let's get a bit more insight into this. What role does this play in preserving cultural assets and promoting it, of course?
Well, the thing is, as you said, digital kind of has a longer lifespan than physical items. So basically what we do have currently is that we do have a website where we're uploading a lot of the knowledge we're finding, right? We do have a website where we're beginning to say, give us any media that you have. So first of all, it's about posterity. We would do this festival, yes, but there's another one next year, there's another one the other year. So first of all, there's posterity. Secondly, there's a learning curve. So what did we learn from this pilot? What are we going to do the next one? So there's a way to exchange and provide some sort of corrective or improving, as it is. It's really scaling to a final global. Our goal is to make Ikorodu a global destination for costumes and masquerades. Right, so how do we start? How do we engage? So the festival production looks at what the custodian has and what the other stakeholders are bringing to the table.
A very clean exchange, really a very useful one. But could you just speak me through, you've been doing this for quite a number of years, and you were talking to me earlier about how long this has pretty much been steeped in history, so it's got quite a staying power to it. But could you talk about it from a sensitization point of view, which is what you're doing right now? How receptive would you say the public has been to this?
First of all, I think the first public demography is the Ikorodu community. Every time I see the Kabiyesi, the paramount, Kabiyesi, I'm sure to be, my honor to him. He's like, my son, welcome. How you doing? People are yearning for someone else to hear their story. Can you listen to me? Can you understand it? And I just want to be grateful for the other stakeholders. As you know, culture is sentimental. Once you hit it at the right place, every other thing aligns. It's similar to religion. So at the end of the day, what we realize is that we're touching the right points. We're meeting the right people. So the feedback is the people of Ikorodu have embraced. I mean, I'm in a crowd and someone from the palace or someone from one of the notable stakeholder group will identify me. How you doing? What's going on? So people are beginning to see that others are interested in their stories, want to help them tell it. So it's really the power, the storytelling and the audience. The storytelling and the audience. So we really are building a strong relationship that as we continue, we'll scale and grow.
Right, and this is going to have more of a blanket and ripple effect. So I asked this specifically because I see more of a masquerade culture here. What about other aspects of Nigerian culture? Are you going to infuse that at some point, or is this going to be agnostic at some point?
Of course. So Ikorodu is the pilot. Like I said, we're working, and I really want to thank the public sector, the government agencies who have recognized this work. What we do actually is technical. It's called Cultural Heritage Trail Framework, and it's a framework we use across board, UNESCO, etc. We're piloting in Ikorodu to take this national. My role is to be the principal investigator, the big researcher, and the technical guide to say this is what worked, and then we will scale. I'm speaking to other subnationals. I probably can't say because of the agreements, but we are literally saying before the end of the year we will begin to share our learnings. But it's going to be a national program as we proceed with this pilot.
All right, so this is already in the offing, of course, so we'll be looking forward to seeing that. Well, let's wrap up with community involvement and how this could possibly enhance economic impact of heritage projects. You just talk me through that.
Fantastic. So I'll just give you a clear answer to that. We see a strong role of fashion. Fashion is what everybody understands. Every time they do the community events, they're already doing Ashwebi. They're doing, and the question is, can you begin to design your own type of style? Can you begin to think about producing your style, and we begin to look at what kind of export conversation can happen. So we're seeing the immediate conversion for local business, small business, technical know-how, as it were. We're speaking to stakeholders across board as well to talk about, okay, if we finish this event, what can you help us do going forward? So there's a strong point for local economic development, business growth. It's just a matter of holding each other's hands.
Absolutely. And of course, to the most important question that everyone want to know, when, where, how do they get in touch with you if they have to become involved?
So we do have something called Ioru on Instagram. It's an immediate page we've created. A lot of the work is really technical and raw, but we begin over the next few months, push it out. So Ioru on Instagram is the immediate point of call. We also got a website called This Is Lagos. If anybody wants to look at that, it's the beginnings of this conversion of knowledge to power and content. So we're very happy to open, and we're open for collaboration. Thank you very much.
It's a nice continuum. All right, if you joined us midway, I've been chatting with Mogbolahan Ajala, who is co-founder and managing director of IGA Nigeria. Many thanks, Mogbolahan, for joining us on the Global Business Report.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome.